and welcome to Across the Fence. I'm Jolie Whitney. Today we're talking taste. Good taste, bad taste, and what it takes to develop taste. Hint, it's all in the nose. In recent years, UVM Extension has been working with top tastemakers to develop products from the ground up, literally. From seeds to soil, UVM Extension researchers are working with farmers to grow food that tastes great. What we're after today is less acquired taste and more how to acquire taste. Next time you're walking down a grocery store aisle, look to your left and then to your right, and chances are today's guest helped develop how that product tastes and why we can't get enough of it. Roy Desrochers works with consumers, corporations, and products around the world to develop the tastes of a product. He also teaches people how to taste and how to refine their palate. Welcome to Across the Fence, Roy.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me here.
And how did you develop a taste for tasting?
Well, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a scientist. And so when I went to school, I became a chemist. And then I happened to join a company called Arthur D. Little, and it turned out they developed the first taste methods in the world that are used around the world. And now 40 years later, here I am, an expert taster, and had a wild ride of working, as you said, on products around the world.
And you work in what's called descriptive sensory analysis. What is that, and what kind of work is Extension doing with that?
So it's a very powerful approach to understanding food products. There's really two types of tasting. The type that the average person understands, where someone asks you, do you like this or not, or which do you like more, like the Pepsi challenge. And that's getting your opinion. Then there's a very powerful approach where we actually treat people as instruments to objectively describe what they smell and taste. And that's what descriptive sensory analysis is about. And it's critical at UVM to developing objective information to then understand what causes aroma and flavor.
And you've, as we mentioned earlier, been teaching taste around the world. Is taste something that's subjective, or do different cultures or people taste differently?
It's really fascinating. When you go to the opinion stuff, what they like or don't, that changes. You know, people in Asia like things differently than people in Europe, than North and South America. But when it comes to training people to use their tongue and nose, it's amazing how consistent we are around the world. And I train tasters in Asia, in Europe, in South America, North America, and I could send a product out right now to any of those tasters and get exactly the same result.
And speaking of that uniformity, is there something scientifically that could maybe taste better than us, like some sort of technology that could do that? Why work with humans?
It's perhaps the best question we can ask. There is no instrument in the world that can pick up aroma and flavor at the levels that the human nose can. So the average person, you, any of the viewers, can taste things on a daily basis that no instrument in the world can detect. And so that makes human tasters critical to developing the complete story about aroma and flavor.
And you said you've been doing this for a while and all across the country. How many people are you usually teaching, or is it usually one-on-one like this?
Sometimes it's one-on-one, sometimes it's a small group of 10 or 12 at a brewery that I'm tasting. Sometimes it's a group of 500 people. I just did a conference in Michigan. So it varies, and the level of training varies. Sometimes it takes a few days. Sometimes it could take 8 or 10 years to train somebody to be a taster.
And what's the best thing in your experience? The best thing you've tasted and maybe the worst?
It's an interesting question because I've worked on Dunkin' Donuts coffee and Tropicana orange juice, but probably the best thing I ever developed was a cognac in France. And we were tasting cognac twice a day for 6 months, and it was just heaven. On the worst side, well, there's lots of stories. Cat food is not a big favorite of mine, but tasting vomit was probably the worst thing that I ever had to do, and that's a long story.
Okay, maybe we'll save that one for another time. But let's get into some taste training. Can you tell me about what we have here?
Yeah, what I thought I would do is get you out of the mold of subjective and what you like and don't like, and teach you a little bit to use your tongue and your nose as I train people around the world to do. Really, you have two instruments that we use. You have a tongue and you have a nose, and I want to start with the tongue. And everybody knows we have taste buds. But one of the things that people don't realize is those taste buds only taste a small set of things. So all you taste on your tongue is sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and the taste of MSG, which is called umami. So if you can take the S cup,
okay,
and what I want you to do is just taste a little bit and tell me what you taste.
Okay, that's pretty sweet.
That's pretty sweet. Now, I chose sweet for a couple reasons. One, we have sweet taste buds, so we can taste that on the tongue. Two, we are all genetically wired to like sweet. So you smile a little when you taste it. I say, oh, okay, it's a little bit sweet. Now, some people eat too much sweet, so later in life, maybe they don't like it. But now, we have sweet taste buds, but all they detect is sweet. Now let's try the next cup that has the
Okay.
letter B. Now I'll warn you, there's caffeine in here, so I don't know if you
trust
just a
me.
little bit of caffeine.
There's plenty of caffeine in me as well.
But go ahead and taste a little bit of this one.
Okay.
And that face was perfect.
Okay.
First of all, what do you taste?
It's a little bitter.
It's bitter, and that's correct. Remember, we taste sweet, sour, salty, bitter on the tongue.
Okay.
Now, the bitter taste buds are different than the sweet taste buds, and the salty ones are different than the sour. And that's the only 5 things we had. I said I love your face for a couple reasons. First of all, it allows me to say instruments don't make faces. One of the things in training that we teach people is we're trying to remove subjectivity.
Okay.
We just want to know what you taste and how strong. The second thing is you weren't smiling when you made that face. Unlike sweet, we are genetically wired to not like bitter. Most of the poisons in the world are bitter. But it's fascinating that you might like coffee, or you might like tea, or you might like a good Vermont IPA. You have to teach yourself to like those things because you have to overcome that genetic thing. Now here's the shocker.
Okay.
That's all you taste on your tongue. Sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. Everything else that you think you taste, you actually smell. And I'm going to show you that.
Okay.
So if you could open this piece of candy, don't smell or anything, just hold it for a second.
Okay.
And I'd like you to hold your nose for a second. Nice and tight. And lick the candy and tell me what you taste. Not much, right?
No.
Maybe a little bit of sweet, because we have sweet taste buds. Okay, now take a couple big licks and let your nose go.
Oh, wow.
And what happens?
It's very minty now.
It's very minty. So what happens is, as we're holding the nose, the mint chemistry is in your mouth, but you don't have a detector in your mouth to taste mint. It can't taste chicken, it can't taste pizza, it can't taste ice cream. All you can taste in your mouth is sweet, sour, salty, bitter. As soon as you let your nose go, the minty chemistry comes up in your nose and you actually smell mint. This is why when people get sick and they get very congested, they very often say, I'm so congested I can't taste. It's not true. They can still taste sweet, sour, salty, bitter. They're actually saying I can't smell. So that's 2 parts of flavor, basic taste on the tongue and then aromatics. Now I have another cup here that I'd like you to try.
Okay.
And this time, rather than what you taste, what's happening in your mouth? How does your tongue feel? So taste,
Okay.
this is just tea.
Very dry.
And it dries up. Ooh, you see, you would be a good taster.
Oh, thank you.
So this is
After
our,
all this, I hope so.
So this is our reference standard for dry mouthfeel, specifically tannin. It's very dry on the tongue. Tannin is very important in wines and juices like cranberry juice. And that's the 3 components of flavor. So when I'm training people, we spend hundreds, thousands of hours memorizing the basic taste and all of these different aromatics and mouthfeels. Why don't we try this real quick? I have 2.
Okay.
This is a quiz now. So
Ooh,
these,
okay.
these are aromatics. I have 2 bottles. Each one has an odor in it. So
Okay.
why don't you smell bottle number 2 first?
Okay, this one
and
here?
see if you can tell me what that smells like.
Oh, I've smelled it before, but I don't know if I can.
So that's a great response because that's the difference between all the viewers and people that are trained tasters.
Okay.
We all taste the same. We know there's something there, but trained tasters can describe it. They have the words. And we use reference standards to train them to do that. So what kind of words would you put to that?
It smells savory.
It is savory.
Okay, so maybe saltier then if we're using our.
It could be briny, but if you go back and smell, it smells like barbecue. It smells like
Yeah.
smoke. It smells like a campfire. And what's amazing is once I give you the words, you'll go back and say, oh yeah, that's what it is. And if I had you smell that 2 or 3 times, you would now remember it.
Okay.
Of all our senses, memory for sense of smell is the best. So we remember smells better than anything else. Okay, maybe one more and then we'll taste the cheese.
Okay.
So that one was smoky barbecue.
Okay.
And let's see what this one smells like.
This one smells like tea.
Like
to me.
tea. Oh, it does. It is very herbal.
Okay.
Think of dill pickles.
Oh, is it dill?
Yeah, it is dill. It's like a dry dill. So now if you had attended training, we would give you lots of reference standards. So we're calibrating you as an instrument.
Okay.
And then we apply it to projects. Like we have this USDA funded project on cheese. And what I'd like you to do is take the first piece of cheese
Okay.
and just taste a little bit of that and tell me what it tastes like. So you taste something. It's difficult because it's so much harmony of flavor, right? It's blended. How about basic taste? Sweet, sour, salty, bitter.
I would say salty.
It is very salty, so we say marginal salt. Maybe a little sweet.
Sure.
What about in the nose? You
Can I?
taste
Is it
cheese.
cheating to smell it?
You can smell it.
It smells like cheese.
But you taste cheese, and
Okay.
remember, you can't taste cheese on your tongue. That's actually in
okay.
your nose. It tastes like very mature cheese.
Okay.
And so this is what we do. And realize what you just did. You just function like an instrument. Instead of telling me, I like that cheese or I don't like it,
Okay.
you simply told me it had some salty taste, it has some cheese taste, maybe it has some fatty mouthfeel. And that's what the professional panels do. Once we have that data, we can correlate it against all the things that go into making that cheese. Now let's compare that to the second cheese.
Okay.
Now the first one was Cabot, local Vermont, wonderful. It's a brand leader in the market. The second one's going to be an artisan cheese made by Jasper Hill. Artisan cheeses tend to have a lot more depth of flavor. So go ahead and taste a little bit of that and tell me what you think. Different than the first one.
It seems a little sweeter right off the bat.
It's got a little sweeter on the
And then
on the
it's
tongue.
definitely a little more, is it more bitter in the end?
It's got a little bit of bitterness on the tongue. And the cheese flavor is different.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
got a little bit of mustiness. It's very complicated because it has a little woody taste. There's a little spruce rind on the outside of this that contributes to the flavor. It's got a little bit of musty, moldy taste because it's a bloomy rind cheese. But think about what we're doing. We're now objectively describing the cheese rather than talking about whether we like it or not. And I encourage people, if you go eat cheese or eat anything, rather than go into it and say, am I going to like this or not, think about what it tastes like first. Then decide if you like it or not.
Okay,
All
we
right,
should
maybe-
jump into the last one.
Yep,
We have
hold
to
on.
wrap
Yep.
up before too long.
All right, go ahead and taste the
but
last one, and then we'll be done with this, and we can. Now this one's a little different.
Yeah.
You should get sour, and sour makes you salivate, salty, and then in the aromatic, it's got a totally different taste. This is a goat cheese from Vermont Creamery, and it's got a little bit of the goatiness, right? A little bit of animal. So they're very different, and we can use you or me as an instrument to describe those differences.
Absolutely.
And that's basically what this is all about.
Great, thank you so much. This has been incredible and also an excuse to eat cheese during the workday. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
My thanks to everyone here behind the scenes at WCAX who makes this program possible. And thank you for having good taste to watch Across the Fence. Have a good one.